Hello, good evening. My name is Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again, and this is going to be the fourth episode this season of the Arsenal Women's Weekly. It feels like the season started months and months ago, and we've only managed to get 3 shows done so far due to all the international breaks, which we will obviously talk about. A lot to look forward to. The WSL's back, of course, this weekend. Arsenal away at Reading. Also, as well, of course, next Wednesday, the Champions League starts as well. We play a nice, easy game away against the current holders, Lyon. So that's going to be fun. So we'll look forward to both of them 2 games. We'll have a look back at the international break. Of course, a few big games happened over the last week or so in the international side of things. And also, there are 1 or 2 little injury problems which we need to discuss as well, which could cause us 1 or 2 issues as well. But we'll look at that as well. All coming up the other side of this. And good evening to Andreas and Amar. Actually, just to let you know, Amar actually jumped in just when the intro was playing, so he just about made it this week. So well done, Amar, for just making it in time, which was nice.
And with full power too,
Full power as well at the moment, which is great. Yeah, Matt's on his way as well. He's just been held up a little bit, but Matt will be here with us as well very, very shortly. Andreas, first of all, welcome back to the show. It seems a long time since we've all been together, but here we are back again, which is good.
Yeah, hello everybody, and as much as I missed the WSL and the Arsenal playing, I missed the show, and you guys already have more. And it's great to be back on Friday to start the weekend with our show, and I think we have a lot to discuss, and I'm looking forward to all the subjects we have.
Yeah, it is a lot. Obviously, it's been a few weeks, so there's a lot to get through. A lot of things have happened and stuff like that, which we need to talk about. And Amar as well, I say just about on time, which was good. So good to see you. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, it's been a while. Looking for plenty to discuss and look forward to. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's been a while. Last week was special. Hopefully this week will be just as good.
Exactly, yeah. Obviously, back in WSL action, which we'll come on to. I suppose really what I wanted to start with was maybe if we get the negative things out of the way first, I suppose we need to discuss a very, very bad news that we've had over the last couple of weeks. As if losing 1 centre-half was clumsy, but losing 2 at the same time is very, very careless, isn't it? And unfortunately, we are now in a situation where our 2 first-choice centre-halves, 2 of our best players, 2 of our most important players are now both injured for what looks as though it's going to be fairly long-term as well. We're talking weeks here, not just a game or 2. We're talking quite a few weeks. And it couldn't have come at a worse time when we're top of the league. We've just qualified for the group stage of the Champions League, which kicks off this week. And suddenly we're without 2 really, really important players, Leah Williamson, of course, and Rafaela Souza, who both of them have had a great start to the season. Now, it seemed as though the Rafaela injury was in the Ajax game, wasn't it? She got injured in that game and had to go off. And Leah's came about in training for England, which is even more frustrating because, you know, you can protect your players from matches and then they get injured in training. I mean, Andreas, if we kind of look at really, I mean, I know Emma Hayes has spoken this week or last week about the international games, so many of them. In fact, we've played now more international games since the season started than domestic league games. And it's a crazy situation at this point in the season, isn't it? And do you think that obviously Rafaela and Leah both were captain of their countries in the summer, played every single minute of tournaments, which they won. They've hardly had a break. They've come into the WSL season, had 2 or 3 international breaks, and now they've both suffered injuries. And yes, they look as though they may well be contact injuries as opposed to muscle injuries, a foot injury apparently they've got. So, But do you think that's had a factor? Because is it a bit of fatigue come into it? Because they've both of those 2 players in particular have had a really busy kind of spell, haven't they, through the summer and obviously into the new season. Do you think that's a factor?
Yes, I'm absolutely sure that this is a factor. And of course, when people say injuries happen to football players, and an injury can happen in a match, in a league match, in club training, yes, of course. But the more they have to play, and the less they have break between the seasons, and then we had the Euros, or for Rafaela the South American Cup, or what she was playing, and then I think two and a half weeks, and then they returned back to training. And before the WSL started, there was an international break.
Yeah.
Then we played 2 or 3 matches, and there was another international break. Now back to the WSL, and for Chelsea and for Arsenal, the Champions League starts with 6 additional matches on highest level between mid of October and mid of December. The calendar is too busy for the top players, and this causes the injuries. The danger to get an injury is rising with all these matches, and I don't see a sense in all these friendly internationals. Of course, qualifying for Euros or for the World Cup is a must-have. They have to play, but having friendlies between and you can't say, the national teams, they must play together. So yes, of course, they have to in March, April, May, when the World Cup is coming in June, but not in October, September, October. This is too much. And now we have the problems. It could have every other team, but it's now Arsenal who lost two key players, and for us it's the problem of the missing squad depth. But I think we will talk about this later. Yeah. To answer your question, yes, I see a reason in too busy international calendar for the top players.
Yeah, I mean, it's even more frustrating that the Leah Williamson injury, because that was 2 England friendlies. Yes, the first one was a high-profile game against America, but it's still a friendly ultimately. It wasn't a competition game, and obviously the second one was just a friendly against the Czech Republic. And it's more frustrating that she's got injured in that, when it was unnecessary, as you rightly say, Andreas. At this point in the season, it's unnecessary to play friendlies. Yeah, there were qualifying games for certain nations to play qualifying games. Yeah, fair enough. They should be played. But when you've already qualified, or you don't have to play a playoff, this, that, and the other, that they shouldn't have a friendly now. Put the friendlies maybe further into the season. There was no, when we've just had an international break literally 2 or 3 weeks ago. And, I think maybe we're a little bit more upset about it because it's Leah that's got the injury in those circumstances, whereas at least the Rafaela one came in a game, which can happen, I suppose, and you kind of accept it a little bit easier. But, I mean, my worry, Emma, with Rafaela in particular is last season she missed a big chunk of the season after just signing with an injury, and now she's got another long-term injury, having played, 3 or 4 games again. So she's only played like less than 10 games in nearly a year at the club, and it's, do you think that's a problem with her individually, or do you think that maybe she's just had a little bit bad luck? Is that what it's come down to, or is it the number of games that we've had?
I wouldn't fold that. I wouldn't say it's anything to do with the training or the way the training goes on, but maybe it's just a combination of just of bad luck, and I don't know if it's a history she's had with that injury, but I think she's been really unlucky. When she signed last, it was great, and I don't know what the injury was last season, and then she was tackled badly against Ajax. I don't know. Maybe they need to we need to protect her more out there. And if you think about this time last year as well, after the North London derby, Leah suffered an injury as well. So starting to become a bit of a thing with her. So I don't know. It is a bit worrying, as you say, with regards to the frequency of the injuries. But maybe we just need to protect her more and I don't know, maybe not play her so much as we have been. But yeah, I'm just hoping whoever fits in. I know we've got Lotter's backup, but I don't know who else is going to play there. I know I've heard rumours that Leah Valti might play as a centre back, which he's played in the past, but it certainly gives us a bit of a headache going forward, especially with the difficulty of the games we've got coming up. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what it could be, but it is a little bit concerning, if I'm being honest.
It is, yeah. And, you're right. Obviously, yeah, Leah Williamson missed a big chunk of last season as well, didn't she, with an injury problem? And she's going to miss a chunk of this season as well. The same with Rafaela. And it is a shame that, that's the one area of the squad, mate. Well, it's one of the areas of the squad that we don't have. We're not blessed with depth, are we, particularly? And, yes, who could have planned for both of your 2 centre-halves being injured at the same time? I mean, the chances of that are probably quite slim. Unfortunately, it's happened. But maybe if it was 2 attacking players, we may have cover in the squad to get through it. Whereas the 2 best defenders makes it even more difficult, because we will obviously look at the potential team lineup for these next 2 games. Who's going to play in defence? Yeah, Leah Walty is maybe one option, which may well be looked at, but it's a big problem. And I do feel as though, and I say I don't often agree with Emma Hayes, I've got to be honest, but she's spot on with that particular thing about the international breaks, which is ridiculous. Yeah. You can't be having 2 international breaks when you've only played 2 WSL games. I mean, they've had more. I say they've had more. They've played more international games than they played WSL games. Yeah. The middle of October. Ridiculous situation. And the result of that is, I mean, it's not just Arsenal players that have got injured, is it? There's some the German player, hasn't it? It's got injured, a long-term ACL injury, who played in the Euros as well. So, these things are going to be happening, I think, a lot more this season, and it is going to be. It's a shame, because there's a big buzz around women's football, rightly so, at this moment in time. And if all the best players aren't playing for a long time because they've got injuries, it doesn't help the product, does it? Because it's not going to be as good as it could possibly be. So, yeah, it is frustrating, and I'm really, really frustrated with the Leah Williamson one. I couldn't believe it when that news came through from the England camp that she'd been sent obviously away from training. She had to pull out of the squad. I'm like, the last player we needed after that was Leah Williamson to be injured as well. But I guess that's football. You can't stop injuries happening. I guess they can happen at any time. Yeah. It's just unfortunate they've happened at the same time. It puts us in a bit of a dilemma. Terry says there, the girls haven't had any recovery time at all, really. I think we could see a lot of this happening. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly the problem. And it is happening as elsewhere. It's not just Arsenal players that are injured. It's happening elsewhere, as we said, which is a bit of a shame. Terry says, every time you mention Raf, Emma gets a little cheeky.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
We all love Raf, though, don't we? Let's be honest. She's amazing. And Terry says a lot of Wouba Moy, of course, got to be. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Wouba Moy is now going to be very, very important, isn't she? Because she's going to have to, like she did at the end of last season, she had to play when Raf was in. She came in and done really, really well. So I'm not that worried about a lot of Wouba Moy playing. I'm more concerned about who plays with her. That's the problem that we've got. One centre back out, we're fine. A lot can come in, not a problem. 2 of them out, then it's a problem, because we don't really have the depth there, do we, in that particular position? We will get onto that in a bit as well. I mean, I suppose we have been talking about the international games, and there was some big international games played. Yes, a lot of them were friendlies, which is unfortunate, but it was, there was certainly at least one good game from the Lionesses as well, maybe talk about. And obviously France and Germany played as well, didn't they? Now, of course, obviously, the big game of the international break was the European champions against the world champions, England against USA. And what a fantastic game of football that was. I know you were busy watching the Germany game, Andreas. You maybe didn't catch too much of the England game. But it was a fantastic game of football, first of all. Both 2 really good teams going at it, trying to win the game. And although it was a friendly, it did have a competitive feel to it, actually. And it did feel like a really important game. And in the end, England maybe got a little bit fortunate with 1 or 2 decisions that went our way, and managed to win the game. And it was great to beat America. And then America went on a week as well. So it was a particularly good week for them. But I thought that was a really, really good, a big crowd in at Wembley. Obviously, Emma was there. It's for me, that was the perfect promotion of women's football, because it was a great game between 2 of the best teams in the world. And it's something to really look forward to with the World Cup coming up, isn't it? Clashes like this happening in that World Cup throughout the tournament. It's going to be great. I mean, I know you didn't really watch the game too much live, Andreas, but I mean, you must have enjoyed the occasion of it all, really. The 2 of the best teams in the world going head to head like that.
Yes, of course. And I watched extended highlights the day after the match, about 26 minutes. So I have a really good impression what happened. And the atmosphere was just fantastic. Of course, 77,000 it's fantastic attendance. And the match itself, both teams didn't want to lose, because there was a lot of prestige in this match. And for England, it was important to show the USA are beatable. They are still a great team. There are young players like Trinity Rodman or Smith. I don't know her
Sophia Smith. Yeah, Sophia Smith. That's right.
Yeah, Sophia Smith. Yeah.
Up and of course they were without Alex Morgan, but yeah, England was without Alessia Russo and Leah Williamson. So, and for us, I say us, I mean the Lionesses, it was a new start without Jill Scott and Ellen White as key players for so many years. And yeah, to beat the USA, a very important sign, and for the self-confidence for the whole team was good. And yeah, and for the atmosphere in the country, it was perfect to play at Wembley again, at a nearly filled Wembley, and yeah, and then beat the current world champions. Fantastic. And as far as I saw in the extended highlights, it was a deserved win. Of course, there were a few decisions from VAR that were pro England, but it were the correct decisions. So it was a deserved win, and it shows what is possible next year in the World Cup. England can beat everybody. Of course, USA is one of the top favorites next year, but yeah, they are able to beat everybody.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I do feel as though the US team are going through a little bit of a transitional period at the moment, aren't they? Building up towards the World Cup, and it was maybe a good time for us to be playing them at this point. Maybe that helps us as well. Yes, the second USA goal that was disallowed was a very, very tight offside decision on VAR, wasn't it? Which could have gone either way, and luckily it went for us, and we won the game in the end. And yeah, I felt we deserved to win overall. I thought we were a better team. It was a hard game. Obviously, they were a good side, America, even though they maybe wasn't at their best and they had some players missing. But yeah, it did feel like it felt a little bit, didn't it? Like you mentioned there, like the start of a new era almost. With the retirement of those two really important players for England, and some younger players and newer players coming into the squad. We saw a bit more of that against the Czech Republic as well, and it is like a new start in a way for the Lionesses, and maybe obviously for women's football in general. I think the Euros was the shouldn't be the end, because it's not. It's the start, isn't it? It's like this is the start of the new journey, and that's what that game felt like to me watching it. It was the start of a new era for women's football, and the modern era has kind of started really now, and that was a great game. I mean, Emma, you was at Wembley. I mean, I think the crowd would have been bigger, wouldn't it, without maybe the train strikes that was going on, and
possibly,
and a lot of people were selling tickets and stuff because of that reason. I mean, it still looked like an amazing atmosphere and a great occasion. I mean, what was it like actually being in the stadium? It must have been fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was great. They did. I think the full capacity end was close to about 77,000, so not quite what I was expecting. Like we had for the Euros when we had for our final at 87. But yeah, I mean, honoring Jill and the first Lionesses team that played 50 years ago was pretty special. Parading the trophy, reminiscing about the great moments about the summer, and then that was good. Once the football started, there was a small section of US fans just down by where I was sitting. I was sitting in the yellow area behind to the left of one of the goals. It was pretty good, but at times I got really nervous, especially when we're trying to play out the back. I remember there was one occasion where Kira Walsh was just trying to. And they had no support, and she was just going back into her box like, "Where's she going?" I mean,
I remember that. Yeah.
They got really, really nervous at times. They got really, really nervous, and when they were playing out, it cost them a goal. And I think they're going to have to be a bit more streetwise when it comes to those teams in the World Cup. But now it was a good win, and overall, so the VAR helped us. I think it was a penalty, and maybe after what happened in Lyon 3 years ago, we were due a bit from VAR. But overall, it was a great game and a great occasion, and it gives us a good idea or indicator of where we need to be at ahead of next summer.
Exactly, it does, and that's what it was about, I guess, as well, wasn't it? We want to be tested against the best we were, and we come out on top again. And talking about the best, we've got Matt has just joined us. How are you doing?
I'm sure about that. Hi guys, sorry I'm late. Last minute.
No problem at all.
But
it's good to see you back on the Friday show as always. Good to see you as always. I mean, we were just obviously discussing the England game against America last week, which was a fantastic game of football, wasn't it? And a great advert for this new kind of a new audience that women's football's got now, because it has done. There's no doubt about that. A lot more people are watching women's football, and if anybody watched that game last Friday, they would want to see more games, because it was a brilliant game, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah, and these are the types of games where, if you remember Leah's call to arms after the final, she wanted those bums on seats, and
Yeah.
Why not go and test the best in the world? We've got other teams as well that I'm sure we've got to go and face. I'm sure in the World Cup you're going to want to face the Australians. You're going to want to face up against Canada. You're going to end up facing some of these teams. You want to ensure you're in the right condition and be ready for whatever they can throw at you. I don't know if anyone's mentioned it, but the United States are sort of on a new cycle with their teams. They've got some old players, not mixing with young. So is it Sue Smith, the striker that's called the goal?
Sophia Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
She was brilliant, wasn't she? What a great player she is, by the way.
She reminded me of Jess Park.
Great player.
How quick she is and everything.
Yeah.
It's just
she's really good.
One of those things that you just can't stop watching and admiring. And it's another thing as well is that you're not just going to be shopping in Europe now. You might have clubs going, you know what, we'll bring in the Americans because the Americans might be more interested. And it helps on a global scale as well because you might see some swap over. We've got a few Lionesses with contracts up over the summer. We don't know what's happening with. It'll be interesting, but I think we've all seen as well that there's been issues with over the last couple of weeks with ACL injuries as well. So things like that have to be taken into account as well. When the training that they're doing, is it too much? Is it too little? Do they need to have those breaks just to make sure that it doesn't happen often?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about injuries before, obviously, particularly to our two defenders, which is going to cause us some issues. And, yes, I think there's been too many games too early in the season already, 2 international breaks, and it's not been helpful to anybody. I don't think, and I think the players, I think this is going to get worse, as especially now, as we said, now the WSL's back, the Champions League starts, it's game after game, 2 games a week for next up until Christmas, really, pretty much. And it's a big schedule, isn't it, on everybody? And it is unfortunately going to lead to these issues as well. And it's all very well, we want to see women's games, we want to see the games played, and we get excited every week to watch the matches. But ultimately, there's got to be the right balance, hasn't there, between giving us the games that we want to see every week, but also making sure that the players are protected and not going to put themselves at risk of injury. And I don't think that they can have a similar calendar for the women's game as they do for the men's. It almost feels as though that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it a very similar amount of games, and I don't think you can do that because I don't think it's going to work the same because men and women aren't built the same physically, are they? And I feel as though it's going to be putting too much strain on the women, and they need to look at that and they need to say, look, yes, we want women's games to grow, but ultimately you've got to protect the players as well, and I think that's something they need to look at going forward. I think this season the calendar's done. And unfortunately, we're going to have to. This is going to be a very, very trying season physically for everybody involved, and it's going to be tough. But hopefully, in the future, they can look at it and try to space things out a little bit more breaks here and there, and make sure that everybody can stay as fit as possible throughout the season, because that's what we need to do. Terry says there, the fans want to see the best players. Exactly, yeah. And that's the issue, isn't it? If all the best players are injured, not playing, it diminishes the quality of the football out there anyway, and it means that people aren't going to be as interested in watching the games if all the best players aren't available. So yeah, it's a balance that needs to be found, and maybe at the moment they're trying to figure it out the best way to do it. At the minute it seems like they're just overkill, throw loads of games at it and hope for the best. Whereas maybe they need to look at that and say, you know what, it's not fair on the players because they're going to suffer, and they are suffering already. Some are suffering really badly. So it is something they need to look at. But yeah, the good news on that sense is there isn't another international break for quite a long time. So we've got about a way maybe, and now we can focus on domestic football for the foreseeable future. And hopefully we won't see as many injuries as we maybe anticipate. But injuries do happen, unfortunately. They are part of football. Obviously, we do, as we said, we're looking forward to the resumption of the WSL. It seems like the season's been going on for weeks and we've only played 2 games. It's annoying, isn't it? But anyway, we are back in action now on Sunday with a game that on paper looks to be straightforward. But as we said, the injuries that we've got, it might not be quite as straightforward as that. Now, Reading are a bit of a strange team because they had a really good run in the middle of last season. They was unbeaten in about 8 games, and then they didn't win another one after that, and they ended up stinking down the table. They haven't won yet this season. They're at the bottom of the league, and that's obviously a continuation of the way they finished last season. But we've got a decent record against them as well. I think they've only ever beaten us twice, ever, and only once in the league. So we've got a good record against them, and we obviously have been in great form. But we can't get around the fact that our two best centre halves are both out. And who's going to play? I mean, Andreas, what are you anticipating ahead of this game? Because obviously Reading have had a couple of weeks off, maybe to regroup because they've had a difficult start to the season. And they may well be a totally different side when we face them on Sunday to what they've been so far. And obviously the break hasn't really helped us because, one, it's stopped our momentum, and two, with the injuries that we've suffered. So, I mean, what are you anticipating ahead of this game? Because it could actually be quite tricky now for us.
It feels like a new start of the season. So at least it feels as if the last match is so long ago. And it's too early in the season to say that Reading is the weakest team because they are at the bottom of the table. It's too early to say this. And it's a difficult match because for Reading, it's also a new start. They can say, okay, we didn't play well, but let's forget the first 2 or 3 matches, and now the season starts for us with a 0-0 against Arsenal. And that's the danger for both teams. It's a long time since they played together. There was this international breaks, friendlies, or competitive matches for the Irish and the Scottish players, and now back to business, back to the WSL, not really knowing where you are standing. And as I said, for Reading, it's a new start. They can say, forget the first matches. Now it counts. And it's difficult to say. Of course, their first matches, their start in the season was really weak. And when you saw them playing, you must say, probably they have to battle against relegation. But we had this situation last season, playing against the team at the bottom of the table without Leah, and we don't want to be reminded on this. And this,
No.
This shouldn't happen again. But it's a tricky match, and we have to be concentrated from the first minute. And then, of course, even without Leah and Rafa, we have the better team, and we should win. But it's important to find the way back, to regroup and to come into the match as quick as possible. So it's difficult, but we are the better team, and we believe in our team that they will win.
Yeah, no, obviously we're the better team. We've got better players, and we should win. But football doesn't always work like that, does it? I mean, Reading beat Chelsea last season, as we know. So they are capable of pulling out a result. And as you mentioned there, we of course lost to Birmingham, who got relegated. So you can't take anything for granted in football. But yes, it is a game that we should have too much for. I mean, Andreas, just before we move on to Amar, who would you play as the 2 central defenders on Sunday?
Oh, I would play Lotta and Wally.
Yeah,
that's for me. This would be the best decision because Leah Walty has already proven that she can play in this position. And as far as I remember, Steph Catley didn't feel really comfortable when she was playing a centre half last season. So my choice would be Lotta and Wally.
I think she reads the game well, Leah Walty, doesn't she, as well? And that's a massive advantage playing it at the back. You can see the game in front of you, and if you can anticipate what's happening, you can put yourself in the right place. And you don't always have to be physically strong or that kind of stuff. I mean, she is, but if you read the game well, it kind of gets you out of a lot of situations. And maybe that could be the best combination, perhaps. And then Frida Marnham possibly coming in midfield. I mean, Emma, what are you anticipating from Reading? Because obviously they've had a terrible start to the season, as we know. But as Andreas rightly says, it's like a fresh start from now, isn't it? They can go again, and it's almost like starting the season from scratch.
Yeah, no. First of all, I was just going to say, are we going to put me back in my right position, or is Matt going to stay there from now on?
Actually, we will do, because it is a little bit confusing, is it? There we go.
No, sorry. I just thought about it. But if you go to Matt first, that'll be great. I'll give you my opinion in a minute. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, well, Matt, then, I mean, what are you anticipating, obviously, from Reading? The bottom of the table, but we know what that can mean to us, and obviously our injury problems. I mean, how do you think that we're going to approach this game coming into it following? Our momentum's gone now, hasn't it, because of the break, really? And we were just building it up, wasn't we, nicely with the win in Ajax and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the other thing is everyone's joking around with the injury situation and things like that. But if I'm honest, if you want to see Leah Walty in this game, you want to wrap her up in cotton wool and bubble wrap and just just get one of those Zorb balls and just put her in that and just say you're training in that so that you don't get injured. It's just one of those things. I'm quite interested how you guys have said about you think that Leah would play at centre back. I've seen a lot of people suggest that as well, but I was thinking that I think Steph's going to play there and then going to have Katie at left back.
Yeah, I was thinking that might be what Jonas does. I've got to be honest, that's my thinking. Because she's left-footed, Steph, and he likes a right foot and a left foot centre back, doesn't he? So, for that
alternative would be if, because of what's happened with the Ireland team, if Katie's not, just going to put her on the bench, it maybe put Laura there and then switch Noel there on that left-hand side. It's difficult to know unless they decide to go like with a 5 at the back, sort of have like wing backs and try and exploit Reading a little bit more that way. But Reading they've said that it's quite funny actually, because they've said the opposite. They've said it's been the best time for them to have a break and they can reel up and everything. And they believe that this has happened for a good reason and they're ready to challenge. But it's one of those things. I'm looking at Brighton. It's their first home game. They're going to be wanting to try and get off the mark now. Their last 2 games, they lost obviously to United opening day. Lost to Brighton. On Brighton, conceding 6 goals and only scoring 1. The last home game was 2-1 against Tottenham in the League Cup.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they are conceding goals. They're there to be forfeit. It might be a case of, can Reading stop Arsenal from playing out? How are they going to step? Who are they going to stop? Because if they stop Beth Mead and Viv, Caitlin Ford's going to run in behind and cause them chaos.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to say I think Kim Little's going to be the influencer this game. She's going to be the one that's going to really tip the scales in our favour. I know Reading have a former Arsenal player, Emma Mitchell. She knows some of the players, but she doesn't know Jonas that well. So that might be tipping in our favour a little bit. It's difficult to judge, obviously. As long as we can avoid what happened in January this year. I think we will be safe. If I had to pick a result, I think Manu loves a clean sheet, and I think she's loving it at the moment without having too much hassle. I think we're not going to see much. I think it might be a bit like the Birmingham game where it was almost smash and grab from Reading, but I don't really see them getting their shooting boots on. So I think Arsenal are going to win this, and it'll be like 2-0. But then again, Arsenal have scored 4 in the last 2, so WSL. So it could be the rule of 4, not the rule of 3 this season.
Yeah, we did see it win 3-0 quite a lot last season, didn't we? I mean, who would you play as centre back then? I know, obviously, you think it might well be Steph. What would you go with if you were picking the team on Sunday?
So with Manu in goal, I would go with Katie, Steph, Lottie, and Noelle. I know Laura's been really good, but I just think with the manner of the game and our current situation, I think Laura would be perfect to be subbed on for Noelle when Noelle get it around that 60th minute mark. Katie and then Leah in the central walls with Viv as the attacking midfielder, and then Caitlin, Beth, and Stina up top.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Steph Catley plays centre back next to Lotta. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Jonas goes with that. Personally, I'm not sure if that's what I would personally do, but I can understand if he does, because he does like that balance at the back, doesn't he? Terry says there, Viv attacking centre back. Well, yeah, Viv could play anywhere actually. Yeah, maybe she can drop in there and do a job for us. Maybe, who knows? He says there, is Jem Beattie fit? Well, she was in training today, Jem Beattie, so I'm assuming she is fit. But that's another issue that maybe could come up. Terry says 8-0, worrying about nothing. Well, I don't know about 8-0. I mean, yeah, we think that might be a little bit optimistic, maybe. But anyway, it should be a game that, you know, we should be confident to win. But I say we had problems last season in very similar circumstances in a game like very similar to this. So we can't take it for granted yet, really, I suppose. But anyway, I mean, yeah, you're right, though, Matt. We have scored 4 goals in both our first 2 games, and my question to Reading would be, can you, yes, we may well be vulnerable at the back, a little bit more vulnerable than we'd normally be, but can you stop our attack? And my answer would probably be they probably can't, if we're totally honest. I think over 90 minutes, we've got far too much firepower for them. And even if we concede a goal or 2 because we maybe make a few mistakes at the back, you'd imagine we'll have enough going forward to be able to win the game, potentially. But, I don't really want to concede any goals if we can, but I'm a bit worried about the lineup, really. That's all. I mean, Emma, what are you anticipating for this Reading game? Because it's a big game for us now. Because Chelsea have caught up because they've thrown all their games together in a little run of before the international break, so they now level on points with us. I know we've got a game in hand, but what we don't want to do is drop points now, do we? And this is a potential banana skin. It is, let's be honest, it is a banana skin potentially.
It is a banana skin. We know what happened a couple of seasons ago when we drew 1-0 there, and then we fell apart after that. I don't think I can't remember that if they've ever beaten us in a WSL. The only victory they've had against us comes to mind was at Meadow Park in the Conti Cup a few years ago. Farrell Williams scored from the halfway line or something ridiculous like that. But other than that, they can't take them for granted. Yeah, they'll be looking to try to exploit our defensive. I wouldn't say bone frailties, but maybe our change lineup. As you said, I think the question with them is, especially as I think before the international break, they lost one of their main attackers, Diana Rose, to a ruptured Achilles. So it's going to be difficult for them. Can they? They've obviously got a few. They signed a few players. They've got Eichland. They've got a few young strikers there. But yeah, I mean, their record is not great against the big teams. And if I'm being honest, it's going to be. What did Andreas go?
Andreas has dropped off. He did that last time, didn't he? His internet went a bit funny.
The question for them, is, can they make the most of? Can they as you say, hurt us going forward? And I don't really see it. And as we've seen, so far they were hammered by Manchester United, lost in the Conti Cup to Spurs, and a bit unlucky against Brighton. I know she's called out a few of the referees' decisions, but the reality is her team, Kelly Chambers' teams in the past haven't been so easy to play against. So it's going to be difficult for them. But I don't even with the slightly weakened, weakened lineup for us. So I think we should still have too much for them and too much for them in general. So hopefully we can play well, and if so, I think we can possibly even 3 or 4 past them. But we'll see.
Who would you play centre back then?
Well, it's difficult. Yeah, Lottie definitely. I don't know what's this. The thing with Taya, nobody mentioned Taya. But she's only just come back from a ACL injury, so it'd be foolish.
She's not ready. I don't think she's ready yet for this.
No, so I know we've had our doubts. We've had our doubts about Jen. So yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably going to have to be Leah Valti or possibly Steph Catley, isn't it?
Well, we'll have to see what Jonas goes with. I mean, it is unfortunate, isn't it? Because at this moment in time, I say we're top of the league, we've been playing well, and suddenly we ran into these injury problems, which is unfortunate. But I mean, we should have enough to beat them. I mean, Matt's gone. Did you go 2-0? What are you going for now, What was your score? Did you say 4?
3-1. I'd say 3-1.
3-1. Okay. Andreas, what could be your score then for this game, the Reading one?
This would have been mine too, because I think we will concede with this defense line, with this new defense. But we should be able to score enough to win. Yeah, I would have said 3-1 too. Yeah,
I mean, I suppose in a way, the only kind of positive of it all is the fact that both of these injuries happened a while ago. So Jonas has had plenty of time to prepare the defence he wants to use for this game. And he's had plenty of time to work on stuff in training over the last week or so. And I think that may help. Had it happened at the last minute and suddenly, like it did at Birmingham when Leah pulled out and it threw all our plans up in the air, and at least we've had time to plan and prepare for this game. And I actually feel that might help us overall, because it's not. We've had time to kind of look at it and work it out. And I'm sure Jonas will come up with the right plan. I actually wouldn't be surprised, and this may shock everybody, I wouldn't be surprised if actually Jen Beattie plays with Lotta.
Really?
And I know when they played last season, there were a few issues that we weren't happy about. Yeah, it was a bit like that, wasn't it? In a couple of games. But you've got to bear in mind, Reading aren't Chelsea at Wembley, are they? Reading aren't some of those other teams that we played with, those two at the back. You know, I think that I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't be my choice necessarily, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jen Beattie played. One, for her experience, and two, because it's her natural position. Whereas you playing someone else there, it's not their natural position, whoever it is, whether it's Leah, whether it's Steph, they don't normally play there. Whereas Jen does play in that position. True. And do Reading have the pace to get in behind? As Amar said, you know, their one pacey striker isn't fit. So, you know, maybe we could get away with Lotta and Jen Beattie in this particular game, potentially. I don't know. But I'm not sure whether that's what he'll do. But I wouldn't be surprised if the team comes out and Jen Beattie's in it. I'm not going to be, well, I wasn't expecting that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But we'll see. We'll see what the team is. But I think, our firepower should be far too much for Reading, regardless of the other problems that we've got at the back. I think we should be able to score enough goals against them to win the game, hopefully win it fairly comfortably. I'm going to go for, I agree, I think Reading will score just because it is an unusual defence that we're playing, and you can see a mistake in us somewhere along the line with the back four that we might have. I think Reading will score, but I think we'll be far too strong. I'm going to go 4-1 actually, because I think going forward we've got the quality, and I do think we'll punish them. And we did score 4 in that ground line. Of course, Jen Beattie did score, didn't she, Reading away last season?
Yes, she did.
So maybe throw her back into this game. She might score again. That'd be good, wouldn't it? That was her last goal, actually, when we played them last season. So we'll see. Terry says, can someone let me know where we're going to slip up? I just can't see it. Well, we could potentially slip up on Sunday because we've got no defenders. But at this moment in time, you look at, our next few games in the WSL, they look winnable, don't they? And you've got to be honest and say the only 3 games that I'm worried about would be playing Chelsea, Man City, and Manchester United. Everybody else, I think we should be able to beat, even with injury problems and stuff like that, because we are a very, very good team. But so there would be the potential games that we could slip up. But hopefully, by the time we play those games, we've got a fully fit team and we can win them. But they would be my worry at the moment. But yeah, I'm not certainly in the WSL in the next few games. I'm not expecting us, even though we've got these injury problems, I'm not expecting us to drop too many points. If I'm honest, looking at the games we've got coming up, it's a nice run of games, and potentially we could get some good results and keep ourselves at the top of the league, which is where we want to be. But yeah, it's never going to be easy, I suppose. Terry says, have you lot been drinking? We're up, easy win. Well, I don't. I think we will win comfortably in the end, but just because of those injury problems, it makes it more difficult, doesn't it?
It's more of a precaution, isn't it, from last season?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's sensible to be cautious, bearing in mind what did happen at Birmingham last season. I know that was a different set of circumstances, and obviously, Leah pulled out this and the other. But yeah, I think we will win this game in the end. I think it might be a little bit nervy at times at the beginning, but I think we'll come through it and win reasonably comfortably in the end, just because we've got Viv and we've got Beth and we've got Stina and we've got Lena Herzig to come off the bench potentially. We've got all these great attacking players, haven't we? Caitlin Ford, as Matt mentioned, she's in great form, isn't she? So they're not going to keep them all them out, are they? Let's be honest. No. They're going to stop us scoring 2 or 3 goals. So and that should be enough. But yeah, let's hope that it's a good way to bring the WSL back again for us, and we can get a win, stay top of the league, and enjoy it again as we have been doing all season so far. Now, while Reading might not necessarily be a team for us to worry about playing necessarily, even though we've got injury problems, next Wednesday we start our Champions League campaign, and that is a team that are slightly better than Reading, I think, a little bit better than Reading, maybe. So for the second year running, we play our first Champions League group game away at the Holders, which is nice. So thank you very much for the draw. We enjoy that. And actually, to be honest with you, and I've read some comments on the forum actually that maybe, the fact that we've got these injury issues, perhaps, would we have been capable of going over to Lyon and getting a result? Potentially, maybe, but ultimately, no one would be surprised with our strongest team if we went there and lost, because they are the holders. They're a very, very good team.
Yeah.
We saw what they did to Barcelona in the final. So maybe if we're going to play them with a slightly injured team, play them away and get it out of the way, and like we did in Barcelona last year. If it's a bad defeat, it's a bad defeat, and we dust ourselves down and not worry too much about it. But having said that, as we mentioned, we've got such a good attacking players. They may well have worries about playing us as well, and rightly so, because we are a very good team. I mean, Andreas, what do you kind of anticipate for this game in Lyon? Because I think most of us deep down probably don't expect us to win. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we are clearly the outsiders for this game, and maybe that's the best that can happen in this situation. If we have, for example, we had to play at home against Juve, would be totally different situation.
Yeah.
Everyone would say, this is very, very important. We need to win. If we lose at Lyon, it happens. But everybody says Lyon will win this group. So if we can grab 1 point there, this would be a bonus point. So if we lose, then maybe we would have lost with Leah and Rafa too. So it's the most difficult game in the group, but in this situation we are now, maybe it's the best that can happen. And besides this, Lyon also has injury problems. They have good players out. Ellie Carpenter with the ACL rupture, and now Sarah Debritz came from Paris, is out. She had a surgery last week. So it's not the best position they are in too, and they are playing at home. Everybody expects them to win. They themselves will say, we need to win our home matches. We need 3 points at home against Arsenal. So everything is possible, and it will also depend how the Reading game goes on. If we have comfortable winning situation there, then Jonas can rest key players. This would be good because we have to travel to Lyon. They are playing at home. Yeah, but it's no reason to say we are without a chance there. Maybe we can take 1 point there. This would be fantastic, and it will depend on our defense. And I hope that Jonas will try to play the defense, Reading the same as he has in mind for Lyon, and not make too many changes or experiments, especially in the defense. Yeah, and as you said, we have a lot of firepower in the attacking line. Everything is possible for us there. And I don't think that we are so chanceless like we were last season against Barca.
No, I don't think it's going to be like that necessarily. I mean, we've got a comment in the chat there from Rizizi, says Lyon also have a lot of injuries, about 4 or 5 of their starting 11 in the final are out with injuries. So, I mean, that's obviously going to affect them as well, isn't it? So, it is a difficult game. We know Lyon are a very, very good side. We know that. We know what great players they've got. And, of course, they've got one in particular that we know very well, of course, who played for us for quite a number of years. Amanda Donk, of course, hopefully she'll be able to make an appearance as well, because we still do love Danielle van der Donk. Unfortunately, she's now playing for Lyon. But, obviously it's going to be tough. I mean, Matt, what are you kind of anticipating for this game? Because for me, it's, if we did lose similar to how we lost to Barcelona, no one would be surprised. But who knows, if we put in a really good performance and who knows, get a positive result, then that's going to be a massive, big statement, isn't it? And also confidence-wise going forward, especially with the injuries that we've got.
And maybe that's the key difference, is that both sides have got key injuries to players in all sorts of positions. Ada Hederberg is out injured and as well. We know how strong Lyon are. They practically swept Lyon aside with how they play. I don't know if Wendy Renard's injured or not, but if she's playing, she's going to be the key one because of how tall she is. She's going to be the one to watch. And had we had Raffaelli, I think she would have been the one to mark her. But I look at our I know, considering that I am 5'5" anyway, the shortest in the panel, by the way, if anyone wanted to know. But I don't see how you have someone like, I think Lottie's 5'8". Leah's about saying Leah's a bit taller than Lottie as well, so she must be about 5'9". And then I think Jen's are a similar sort of height as well. So there's no one really that you can mark unless you ask Manu to sort of mark her. But you don't want your goalkeeper marking as someone.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the key one. Also, we've talked about Andreas has mentioned the Brits, but she's injured. They've got Henri in midfield. We've got everyone's favourite Dutch midfield maestro, hard tackling hitter, Daniel van der Donk.
Yeah.
It was amazing seeing her at the Euros. Just
It was, yeah.
with no fear. You miss it. Henri and Le Sommer up top. It's difficult. It's a really difficult. How can you say who is it going to go? I've originally put down that it was going to be a 1-1 draw, but I think it's difficult because do the injuries play a part? But at the same time, is it going to be similar to what I've said earlier about Arsenal's attack? Is it going to be who's got the better attack that wins the day?
Possibly.
Because
possibly it could be, yeah.
It's difficult. I think I'm going to change my prediction. I'll go for 2-1 Lyon.
Ooh.
Well, we don't mind that, Matt. Anyway, we don't mind you going against that. It tends to work quite well generally, so that's fine.
I don't think it's just one of those games that is so difficult because there's again so many ifs and buts. But if we can get something from it, it's a bonus at the end of it. I've seen things from people saying, "Oh, Jonas should forget about the Champions League and focus on the WSL now." Well, no, we need to be pushing ourselves against the best teams in the world.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity, isn't it? That they're the holders, and it's a good opportunity for us to show how much we've learned from last season when we came up short in those games, didn't we? Against Barcelona, against Wolfsburg, and against Chelsea often as well. So, yeah, it is a big opportunity for us, and it's a shame that we haven't got a fully fit team to play it because that would have been interesting, wouldn't it? But it is what it is. We're going to have to go out there with a team that we've got, and yeah, I agree. Our attack is certainly good enough to cause anybody problems without a question. Of course, it is. But so is theirs, and that's the other issue that we've got with our defensive problems that we might have. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Wendy Reynard, what an amazing player she is. I saw her live in the Euros, and we saw France against Holland in the quarterfinal. And that's the first time I've seen her play live, and she is an amazing football player. Honestly, she is brilliant.
Yeah.
That was an absolute pleasure to actually watch her play live, and she is great. And obviously, if she's fit, if she plays on Wednesday, she's going to be she's dangerous in both boxes, isn't she? She gets everything into the box. She clears at the other end from corners and set pieces. She gets on the end of everything. So, yeah, she's going to be the danger probably as well. But yeah, she is an amazing player, and it was great to see her play. But we're going to have to find some way of dealing with her, aren't we? At both ends of the pitch, that's what we're going to have to try and do. Amongst all the other great players that they've got as well. So it is definitely going to be very, very tough. But a good opportunity for us. And I agree with Andreas that the two games that we have to get results from in this game are the two games against Juventus, home and away. We need to win at least one of those games if we're going to go through. Hopefully the one at home is the big opportunity to win, but we need to win one of those games. And with the fact that we've had a break coming into one WSL game and then playing this game, I'm glad we're not playing Juventus in this first game, because it would be a potential game that we might end up dropping points now when we may not have done in a few weeks' time. We've got a bit more rhythm back in our play. So, yeah, I agree. It's actually probably the best game to have first, because it's as we've said, it's a bonus, isn't it? If we get any result on Wednesday, it's a bonus, and that's going to be great if we can do it. Amar, what are you expecting? Do you think we can get a result with obviously the team we're likely to be at the field against? They've got their injuries as well. Do you think we can get a result on the night? And if so, that's going to put us in such a good situation in the group, isn't it?
Yeah, if we can get a result, it's fantastic for the team morale and confidence going forward. But you know what they're like. I know they have conceded a few goals so far in the domestic league so far, but they're still 1-4 and they're averaging 3 goals a game. So that was on us already. I know we scored 8, but I mean, they just have that know-how, and they're 8 times champions, and it's just. I mean, it will be very difficult, but hopefully we can maybe set up just to be maybe just contain them a little bit initially, and then maybe look to try and I don't know, maybe not by hitting them on the counter as such, but maybe look to try and just play our style of football and impose it on them after a little while. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really difficult. If we go there and get anything, we're a bonus, but hopefully we don't show them too much respect. And who knows? Yeah, we'll hope we can get a result. But it's not just it's not just DVD they got. It's not just like Hegerberg. They got Delphine Cascarino, who we know is a very good winger for proven it for France in the past. Mallard is another good player I was looking at as well. So yeah, I mean, and
we've got good players, Emma. We've got good players as well. We've got
sorry, I'm not bigging up all the big players. Their squad depth is amazing, but as I said, if we don't show them too much respect and play our style of football, and maybe just go not try to play them at their own game, but just try to play the way Jonas likes to play with a bit of defensiveness in mind, we can go there and get a result. But it'll be difficult, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, I don't know what I'll predict, but let's see.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be, but it's kind of, I mean, I agree with what Andrea said as well, that, it's going to be a totally different game to the Barcelona game because Lyon play a different style, don't they? And the Barcelona style is very difficult, the constant pressure and the way they pass the ball. Lyon play a different way. And maybe we may be more able to deal with Lyon's threat than we were able to deal with Barcelona's last year. So it's going to be a different game. But ultimately, Lyon are a great side, and it's going to be very, very tough. So, Andreas, what will be your score prediction? I know Matt's gone for a 2-1 defeat now. What are you thinking?
The problem is that Lyon has a lot of players with pace, and I wouldn't feel comfortable to see Jen in this
No.
game.
Definitely not.
Yeah. But it's possible to score against a defense organized by Wendy Renard. Alex Popp has proven this in the Euros and in the friendly against France. She scored with a header against a defense organized by Wendy Renard. So everything is possible. And I saw Lyon last season in the group stage in Munich, and Bayern Munich won at home 1-0. So it was. Maybe it was the best game Bayern made in the last season. It was totally physical and intense from the first minute on, and that's the key for this match too. You have to be in the match from the start, from the first whistle. You must be present, and not like we played last year in Barcelona when we needed 20 minutes to come into the game to realize how good the opponent is. You must be present and hold against them in the physicality. So then maybe it's possible to get a result. I think normally at home and with the pace from their players, I would say Lyon will win 2-1. But as I often said, we want to be optimistic in this show. And so I say we will score. And so maybe it's a 1-1. And we'll get this bonus point. At least I hope this.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a bonus point as well, especially in the current circumstances that we find ourselves in. I would take a draw all day long, and I'll be over the moon with a draw. I've got to be honest. And yeah, I mean, on our day, we're capable of getting a result against anybody. I think with the players that we've got, certainly our attack is good enough to cause problems to anybody. And yeah, Lyon do concede goals. They have conceded goals this season, as we said, and I don't know. I'd like to think we can get a result, and I'd like to think we can win. I'm not really confident that we will, though, and I don't want to predict us to lose because I just don't like to do it. So I'll predict a draw. I'm going to go 2-2. I think we can. I think we'll score 2 against them, and they'll obviously probably score 2 against us just because our defence isn't going to be as good as it can normally be. So, having said that, I mean, with our first choice defence, Ajax still scored 2 against us, didn't they? So, why can't the makeshift defence do as well as them? That's what I say. So yeah, I'll go for 2-2, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do lose actually. And we'll take that because these are the two. It's not going to be the 2 games against Lyon that decide whether we go through or not. Is it? Let's be honest. It's going to be the other games that we've got coming up afterwards. So hopefully by then we'll be in a slightly stronger position in terms of squad and stuff like that. Terry says there, Matt, have you sold all your clothes? Just noticed your wardrobe has gone. It has actually, hasn't it? Or have you just changed your angle slightly in the room that you're in?
Well, no. So this is a new webcam. So if I change my camera now, although it would go to black. So hold on. There we go.
There we go. You see, look, it is still there, Terry. Look, he hasn't sold all his clothes. Don't worry. He's still got
It is
it's a better camera.
all in black.
Yeah, they got black for a sec. Yeah.
I think this just for everything that we do, like podcasting wise, thought it'd be quite nice to just. I didn't spend that much on the camera, but it was just something that helped a lot because you don't want to see fuzzy faces every 5 minutes. So
no, it is a nicer angle actually that way as well, isn't it? Because before, I mean, sometimes you get a lot of the background in. You want to see you because you're the one who's talking, so it's nice that you're a bit closer in and we can see you a bit better. That is good.
You don't like my posters, do you, Terry?
We love your posters. I think they're great. I think it was a wardrobe that Terry was worried about. Anyway, he was
because he thought that was a rifle up there, wasn't it?
Anyway, I don't think I gave my score prediction, but initially I was going to go. Sorry to let you down, but I was going to go 3-1 Lyon, but I don't know. We'll see.
You're not allowed. Only Matt can predict a defeat for us. The only one that's allowed. You've got to predict a better result than that.
All right, I'll go draw then. But don't be surprised.
Right.
Can we just say though, because of the injury issues, it's so unpredictable that we could be turning around going this time next week that will go, wow, we just beat the European champions.
Possibly.
Well, wouldn't that be something?
Imagine, I don't think we would have been saying that last year against Barcelona.
No, we wouldn't. I mean, in fact, we didn't, did we? Because I think we all predicted that. Well, we all anticipated that we'd lose that game against Barcelona. We did. And it is going to be a completely different game this time. Yeah, Lyon have got their own problems, injuries. Let them worry about their injuries, and we'll concentrate on our game. And we've got, as we said, we've got enough great players to
injure anyone.
Cause them problems, and we can potentially get a result. And let's hope that we do. And it'd be a great way to start the Champions League, wouldn't it? If we come away from that game without losing, that would be a brilliant result for us and something that we can really build on, not only in the Champions League but also in all the WSL games or whatever we've got coming up, because it's going to be a massive confidence boost, isn't it? If you can get a result away at the European champions, that will be an amazing result and something to, I say, really build on. Terry says there, wondered where your machine gun had gone. He says he loves the picks. Well, yeah, of course, the picks are great. We do love the picks.
They're fantastic.
Do need a filler though, just about Thomas Rosicki though.
Yeah, maybe a little scarf or something. That little gap would be good, wouldn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, I'll have a think about it. Maybe Terry's got some suggestions.
Well, let Terry decide. As soon as he's the one who's designing your room for you, so maybe let him decide what he thinks is the best option for that little space. I think a scarf could look pretty cool. That little scarf would be good. But yeah, perhaps. So yes, obviously, let's see what happens on Wednesday. But obviously, we got the Sunday's game first to get out of the way, which is more important because it comes first and it's in the league, and we want to win the league this year, don't we? So let's make sure we win that. Have you got a question for us? Because this is the key. Have you got one?
Yeah, I do. Do you want to do the intro? Or?
We'll do the intro, and then you can come in with your fantastic question because I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Yeah, so it took me some time to come up with this one, but yeah.
Okay. Hang on, let me get my pen in case I need a pen. So since the inception of the Women's Super League in 2011, how many teams other than Arsenal have taken part? Oh, that's a good question, isn't it?
It's too long ago.
Since 2011, how many teams have taken part in the Women's Super League in total? And this includes teams that no longer exist or currently have rebranded.
Or rebranded. That's an interesting one, isn't it?
You can take it in turns to name them if you want, like we did when we did the One about the
Hey,
nationality.
should we do it? Yeah, should we go around? We'll name one each, and we can go around them all.
I'll tell you whether it's right or wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously we won't include Arsenal because we know Arsenal.
Yeah.
So
I said other than Arsenal, how many teams
Other
have
than
taken
Arsenal,
part in the Women's Super League since 2011?
right. Okay. Right. So who's going to go first?
Start with you, Richard.
Okay. I'll go Manchester United.
Correct. Yes.
Chelsea.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Reading.
Reading. Yeah.
I'll go Manchester City.
Man City. Yeah. 4.
West Ham.
West Ham.
Tottenham.
Spurs. Yeah.
I'm going to go Liverpool.
Liverpool. Yes.
Villa.
Aston Villa. Yeah. 8.
Everton.
Yeah, I was about to say we go. Yeah. Everton 9. Hoping they do us a favour and get something against Chelsea on Sunday.
That was why I didn't say Everton because I knew Matt would want to say Everton. So I let him have Everton.
9.
I'm going to go Bristol City.
Bristol City. Yeah.
Everton.
And Matt already said Everton.
Yes. Oh, okay. Reading.
Oh, he's already said Reading as well.
Birmingham.
Birmingham, yeah. Birmingham City.
Yeovil.
Yes, they've now since rebranded as Bridgewater United, yeah. 12.
Yeah, it was a good one. Okay, so I will go for Brighton.
Brighton, oh yes, Brighton, yeah. 13. Go on, Andrea.
Just thinking.
Oh yeah, and I know that I thought I'd forgotten one for a second, but I'm going.
I've got 2. Do you want me to go?
Okay, if you want, say one then. Say one.
London Bees.
No, London Bees have never taken part in the WSL.
Oh, I tell you, what I was thinking then, and I've got a feeling that might not be right now. I was thinking Millwall Lionesses.
No, Millwall Lionesses is wrong.
They didn't.
Nope.
I wasn't sure about them.
Notts County.
Notts County, correct?
County, that's a great guess.
Notts County since dissolved, of course.
Yeah.
See, it's hard now because you go through the pyramid.
Yeah.
Well, we've got all the current ones, so it becomes more tricky when you've got to think back to a few years ago now.
Well, that's 14, but that's still pretty good.
Did we already
How many
mention?
are there?
Sorry?
Did we mention Leicester?
Oh, Leicester. Yes, Leicester.
Oh, that's a good
Of
one.
course,
Leicester.
yes. I forgot about that as well, yeah. Leicester, of course, yes.
Leicester's a
Don't
good one.
forget
Yeah,
Leicester.
yeah.
How do we forget that?
How many is there?
So you named 15, and I'll let you know there's 2 more.
2 more.
2 more.
Is there only 2 more?
Only 2 more.
Oh my god! Wow. Okay.
No.
Was Leeds in the?
No, Leeds is not right. I'm sorry, Andrew.
Leeds would have been before the WSL.
Oh,
wouldn't
Would
it?
it have been Coventry? Was it not Coventry United? Didn't they have a team in there?
Coventry United? No.
No, I don't think.
You've got 15, which is pretty impressive, I must say. Yeah. So,
Can you give us like a demographic?
I'm trying to think of the teams that we've played over the years. I'm trying to think of a team that we've played that we haven't mentioned.
I think
Can you give us
there's
like
one
a
that's not too
demographic?
far from where you are, Richard.
Sunderland.
Sunderland.
Oh,
How
Sunderland.
did we miss that one?
Sunderland,
Cool.
yes.
Sunderland should have been obvious because that's where Jordan Nobbs and
Beth,
Beth
Lucy
came
Bronze
from.
and Demi Stokes,
Yeah.
they all came from
Yeah.
there. It's 16,
Sunderland, yeah.
just one more. If you want a clue, I'll give it to you, but think about it. Longer.
So now you've got to kind of think about lionesses and things like that. Where have they come from?
Yeah.
In fact, I'm not going to give you any clues on this. So
I'm just trying to think of teams that we've played against, that I've seen us play against, and I'm trying to think of one that we haven't said.
Yeah, you said all of them, bar. One more now.
Is it a team that's still in existence, or is it a team that's defunct?
Oh,
now?
no, it's still in existence, very much.
Are they below the championship?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Okay.
That helps a little bit.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
I'm going to go have a wild guess in the dark. I don't think they have. Watford.
No, Watford is wrong.
No, probably Watford has, no.
The last clue I'll give you is it's south of Sunderland. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that'll be every single team that's south of Sunderland. They're the most northern team that's ever played in the WSL.
One which is south of Sunderland, but yeah, they're all I know. But yeah, well, there's one more which is south of Sunderland, southwest of Sunderland, roughly. If you get this, I'll be very impressed. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
Um,
I'll give you a few more seconds to think about it. If you can't think, then I'll reveal.
so it's more towards me. It's a cover now. I'm trying to think of things more close
That's
to me.
east of you, Matt. Yeah, east of you.
East of me. Blackburn Rovers?
Ooh,
No, they're in Championship.
not far away, but wrong.
Well, it's not Burnley. So it must be a Lancashire team. Can't be Blackpool.
No, I can't think of any Lancashire teams that have been.
You're kicking yourself right now, Omar, because I'm in the right area, aren't I?
Yeah, not too far. Not too far. Yeah, in the right area. Yeah.
Just trying to.
It isn't Doncaster Bells.
Oh, it's Doncaster Bells. Yes, it is. Doncaster Bells. Yes. Yeah, Doncaster Rovers Bells. That was the other team. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, 18 teams in total have taken part in the history of the WSL.
Wow, brilliant.
Yep, Donny Bells, who were controversially removed and then replaced by Man City all those years ago.
Who?
Controversially removed and then made way for Man City.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow. Brilliant.
18 teams.
That was a good question actually, because some of them, like Yeovil was a great one that Matt got, wasn't it? Yeovil was a brilliant one.
Yeah, they're now known as Bridgewater United.
Yeah,
I'm sure though that London Bees were there, but I don't know if they were.
London Bees Championship, yeah. Sheffield United, they've all been Championship. London City Lionesses. It's not called Millwall Lionesses. I think it's called London City Lionesses.
WSL.
Sorry?
When was Doncaster in the WSL?
Until about 2014.
Oh, okay.
Because that's when they had Millie Bright, wasn't it? She was.
I think so. They had financial issues, and then they were controversially sent down, and then Man City came in. So yeah, there you go. 18 teams, many more to come.
Well, possibly. I mean, it'd be nice to see a few newer teams coming in again. I mean, obviously Liverpool got promoted last year, but they've been in it quite a long time before, won the titles and stuff like that. It'd be nice for other teams to come. I know Leicester came in the year before. That's good to get them in, and it'd be nice to get a few more kind of teams that's never played before the WSL, wouldn't it? Get some of them coming up. Maybe they need to start promoting 2 teams, don't they? That's what they need to do.
I think this is one of the things, isn't it? Is that the pyramid itself actually is 108 teams. One of them's got 13 teams in one league. So it would be quite nice to maybe have, instead of maybe a playoff relegation playoff sort of thing, where second versus the second from top, second versus bottom. In the championship and apparently, so you'd have, I think it was Leicester playing, I think it was Bristol City. Something like that.
Something like that would be good. I think that having just one promoted and one relegated, it makes it a little bit of a closed shop almost, doesn't it? And I think they need to open it up a bit more, give more opportunities to more clubs to get into the WSL, especially now when you've got the Sky TV deal. There's a lot more money involved in the WSL, and you don't want the gap to widen too much, do we? Because we've seen what effect that's had in the men's game. We want to try and reduce that. The way to do that is to allow more teams to be promoted into the WSL. And
Andreas, how does it work in the Bundesliga? Is it relegation?
No, it's also only 12 teams in the Bundesliga, and 2 are relegated, and the first 2 from the second league go up. But the problem is that in the second Bundesliga, the second teams of Wolfsburg, Bayern, Frankfurt are playing, and if they are on the first 2 places, then the third or the fourth is allowed to go up. So this is also not a good solution, because last season the third and the fourth team from the second league went up, and they were chanceless in the Bundesliga. So,
Right.
Yeah, that's the danger, isn't it? I mean, maybe they need to look at not putting a reserve teams of those big sides in that division, maybe, because it, like you said, they're probably going to be in the top 2 or 3 anyway, aren't they? Because they're going to have the best players. So, yeah, maybe that's what they need to do there. Perhaps look at that a little bit. But yeah, we definitely need at least 2 promoted, don't we? In our league, I think that's got to be what they need to do. And why they haven't done it so far, I'm not really sure, because we've seen, haven't we? I mean, I know Leicester came up and they struggled a little bit, but Villa came up. They've done okay. They've survived in the division, haven't they? Reading, Brighton, teams like that have come in and survived. You know, Liverpool are a big name in the game. They've won league titles, so you'd imagine they can survive. So it'd be nice to get some other teams in, wouldn't it? Get Sunderland back up there again, and you know, Bristol City, teams like that. You know, just keep it flowing a little bit better and more teams up and down. And I just think it'll be better for the game in general. If we're going to look at, you know, we want to improve the standards, don't we? We want to make everybody more interested in the game. And the way to do that is to keep the games more interesting. Ultimately, we've had it where the team that's finished bottom have been rooted at the bottom, and the relegation's over halfway through the season because they're so far behind. You know what I mean? And it's like it makes the season a bit less interesting, doesn't it, for everybody else? So, yeah, they need to do something about that. And yeah, hopefully in the next few years, that number of 18 teams will double, and there'll be another load of 18 teams that'll come up and down and go through the league, and it'll make it better, won't it? And as long as we're still in there at the top, I don't mind what happens below. You know, hopefully we won't be in that situation where we have to worry about relegation and stuff like that. But it would be nice if they do relegate and promote more teams. That's what they need to do. Or I don't know, maybe restructure the league, have maybe more teams in the WSL, maybe make it a bigger division, maybe. But we were saying before about a number of games, that would make it even harder, wouldn't it? Because there'd be more games. So I don't know, it's difficult, isn't it? But they need to do something, because I don't think it's right that only one team comes up into the WSL every year. It's not enough, and they need to look at that. But yeah, that's something I need to look at for the future of the game. Terry has put a comment there. He says, "Is Matt going to sing us out tonight?" We haven't done that before. Have you got one? Have you got one?
No. This is the problem, is that when I was doing the songbook, it's now I sorted out a songbook. It's now gone to the Arsenal Supporters Club, and it's all going to be printed out for the supporters. Only a few of my songs made it in the end, but we're hoping to create a little bit more atmosphere and things like that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it all works out. It's just a shame, really, because some of those songs, I look, the Rafael Souza one that I did was actually quite nice. It was just a shame that someone else went and did it to the tune of what did Tony Adams do the other night? My dad's a dustbin man.
Well, where's the dustbin? Yeah.
Oh, Rafael.
Oh, right.
I hate Tottenham too. I was just like that. Yeah, okay, it makes sense, but at the same time, I don't want to be singing about Tottenham all the time. You hear it a lot with the Arsenal men. You go to if you got
you do.
Few friends went to the Europa League game last week, and that's all they were singing is Tottenham get back. I was just like, just get over it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when we play Tottenham. It's like when we play Tottenham. When we're not playing Tottenham, it's like, let's not think about them. They're irrelevant to us. Let's concentrate on our team and our players. And yeah, you're right. I agree.
I had 2 for Rafael. Right? Oh, Rafael Souza. Oh, Rafael Souza. Or it was, there's a Brazilian. I know. She's the one you're afraid of. Look into her eyes. Rafaela Souza, Rafaela Souza.
Let's
So,
hope that you sing it. Let's hope you singing them songs are going to help her heal a bit quicker. That's what we want. And then she'll play a little bit quicker. If you can get her fit for Wednesday, that would be great. But I think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
Fingers crossed.
But no, I mean, it is. Yeah, we've got some great players, and they need to have more songs. And you're right, and it does need to be slightly more of a better atmosphere in the game and stuff like that. And if you can obviously generate that would be really good. Because that's one thing that, I mean, I think we all love going to the games and stuff like that. But sometimes they could do a bit more atmosphere, couldn't they, really, I suppose, and a bit more chance for the players in particular, because I think they deserve it as well. So, but no, I've seen that on the forum, actually. That's pretty good. The supportive club getting some songs to sing, which is nice. Hopefully we might hear a few more of them as the season goes along at the games. That'd be nice, won't it? But we shall see what happens. And of course, there has been already over 20,000 tickets sold for the Manchester United game already. Likely that there's going to be a lot more as well beforehand. I mean, that's obviously a month or so away, isn't it? I know you're going down to that, Andreas, aren't you, which is going to be really good.
Yeah, I'm going there, and of course I'm a season ticket holder, but I already booked my flight for the United game. It would be great to have a big audience again. Maybe it could be 30,000. It's already 6 weeks to go. 20,000 sold. So let's hope for a big audience. And as Beth Mead said, we want to have this as the new normal.
Exactly.
Have big attendance, and they deserve it.
Oh, they 100% do deserve it. Yeah, there's no doubt. And I won't be surprised actually if that went to around 40,000 for that Manchester United game. I won't be surprised if it did. It's 20 already. Like you said, there's still a few weeks to go. And I think the Tottenham game sold a lot in the last week or so, didn't it? Just beforehand, and that's maybe what happened again with this one. Are you going to that one, Matt? Manchester United?
Yes, Melissa managed to get me tickets for that, so there's a few of us going as well. So hopefully we'll get to see you there again, Andreas.
Yeah,
that would be great. That would be great. I suppose you're going, are you, Em, after the Man United one?
I don't know. What date is that again? Is that on Saturday the 20th or something?
21st, is it?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't bought my ticket. They give me a discount code before the games against United and Chelsea. I haven't used that yet, so I'll have to do a bit closer to the time. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get down for that one. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully.
Because they moved the kickoff on that, didn't they? For TV.
Oh, it's 5:30 on a Saturday. Yeah, it's a weird time now. 5:30. 5:30. Yeah.
If it had been on the Sunday, I'd have been able to go, but because it's on the Saturday now, I can't. So, which is a bit annoying. But anyway.
Saturday the 19th. Sorry, Saturday the 19th. I think it is.
Oh, the 19th. Yeah, that's right. It's Saturday. Yeah, it was meant to be Sunday the 20th, wasn't it, initially? Because I was looking at coming to that one if it was on the Sunday, but on the Saturday I can't make it. So, which is a bit frustrating. Anyway. Not to worry. I'll hopefully, depending on what day they pick the Chelsea game for, I'll definitely try and come down for the Chelsea one at the Emirates. That's going to be great. But we'll have to see. But yes, it's a bit annoying that they released the tickets and then the next day they changed they announced that why didn't they just wait and don't put the tickets on sale until they knew what had been confirmed? Right. Because I mean, people like Andreas, he's got to fly and stuff like that. You can't just arrange at the last minute. These things got to be put in place. They need to give us plenty of time. And hopefully when it comes to the Chelsea game, they'll get that sorted out nice and early, have the date confirmed, the time confirmed, and then everyone can make plans to get there. And you can change things around if you need to, which unfortunately for the Man United game, I wasn't able to do. And unfortunately, they've moved it now. So I've put a stop to the plans that I was putting in place to try and get down for it. But anyway, hopefully, I'll be down for the Chelsea one, hopefully for the Emirates and one or two more at Meadow Park as well, no doubt, as the season goes along, which is going to be great. But yeah, so I mean, we're all looking forward to Sunday, aren't we? To get the WSL back. We've missed it the last couple of weeks. So it'd be nice to. It seems strange actually. The last WSL game we played was that game we was all at together and we all met up.
Yes.
And that seems like it was like about a year, only like 2 weeks ago. Our last WSL game. It seemed a long time ago. Right. But anyway, we are back in action on Sunday. Are you going to that one, Matt, to Reading? I'm not, because I know it's a bit of a difficult journey.
Yeah, works out as getting there it takes 4 hours, but getting back it would take too long.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't suppose it's the easiest place to get to from Liverpool, is it?
No,
it's not a direct train, is it? You'd have to change, wouldn't you, somewhere?
Yeah, it's multiple changes. You'd have to either go into London and back out, or you would go, I think it would be Birmingham and then sort of down to Brighton and have to go that sort of way.
Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah,
it is a tricky. It's in a funny location actually, Reading, isn't it? Really, it's not easy to get to either way, whether you're driving or whether you're going on the train. It's a bit of a funny one. I mean, looking at those teams actually that you mentioned there, Emma, that's been in the WSL. The one thing I've noticed is most of them are sort of more southern based in the country, aren't they? The majority of them are sort of based more southern. Here. You've got Liverpool, Everton, Man United, Man City in the sort of northwest.
Yeah.
But other than that, a lot of them are more down south, aren't they? Really, West Ham, Tottenham, Reading, even Villa, sort of southish, isn't it? Bristol City, Birmingham, obviously Arsenal, Yeovil. All them teams are quite sort of southern. It's only really Sunderland and Doncaster that are even anywhere near me. But anyway, it is what it is, isn't it? I suppose. What we need is that's why you expand it a little bit, get a few more northern teams in, and I can go to my away games if you like. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm actually going to see, on a slightly different note, I'm going to see the Newcastle women. They're playing at St James's Park in November, really? And they're playing against Bradford. It's like the third tier of women's football. They're actually doing pretty well, Newcastle. A bit of investment in the women's team because of the money they've got, and I think they're second in the league. And last time they played, they had one game early this season at St James's Park. It was 22,000 for a third tier women's game, which is a brilliant crowd. And I think for this one, I think it could be even bigger. So that's going to be good. We've got tickets. There's only £3 of tickets as well. So brilliant stuff. So we're going to that one because it's obviously local for us. So we're going to go over to that one in November. So that'll be good to see a bit of third tier women's football as well, local team. And let's hope it's a good game. They won. Newcastle won 9-1 the other week against Lincoln. So they've got goals in that. So that could be quite exciting. So we'll see. But we're going to St James's Park in November for that game. It's the week we haven't got a game. I think it's the 27th of November, so the week after the Man United game. We don't have a game that week, so we're going to that. That's going to be good. So let's hope. It might be a few years' time. Newcastle might be in the WSO if they've got enough. They've got the money now. They said they're going to invest in it. I think they getting new facilities and stuff for the women's team. So let's see what happens. They might be one to watch out for. We could be playing them in the WSL in not too distant future, maybe.
But I think they also smashed the record in May, I think, didn't they? Well, for the first time, I remember listening on the radio. I think they were playing Alnwick Town or somebody like that in a local game, a fourth tier game. So
the FA Cup is the third round is coming on. So I think that's another option there for everyone that doesn't know. There are local teams that are still in the FA Cup.
Yeah. I mean, the FA Cup's going to be coming around before we know it as well, isn't it? With everything else that's going on, the FA Cup is going to be another game to throw into the mix.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the Conti Cup until January again, which is good. But hopefully we'll do a bit better at this time because last year we didn't do so well, did we? Got knocked out first at the first hurdle for us, really. But hopefully this year we might do a little bit better. But I think really ultimately we want to be winning the WSL this season, don't we? And we want to be competing a little bit further in the Champions League as well, because that's what it's about, isn't it? We want to compete at a very top level, and that's what it is. So let's hope that we can do it. And the signs so far have been good. We've had a good start. Let's hope that we can continue on Sunday with another good win, and then we'll see what Lyon brings us. Just before we go, so I do want to wish all the best to Emma Hayes. I know we don't like it, particularly when it comes to the football side of things, but we want to wish her well. She's done an operation and stuff like that. Absolutely.
She'll be back. She'll be back, obviously, with a team very, very soon. So despite the rival, we'll put rivalries aside, and we'll say soon. Emma Hayes, hopefully you'll be well.
Absolutely.
Back very soon. So, so that is another exciting episode of the Arsenal Women's Weekly, which has been great. I say lots of exciting football to come over the next few weeks with the women now. We're kicking back in. We've got 2 games a week coming up over the next couple of weeks as well. It's going to be busy time, but it's going to be exciting. It's going to be great. We will obviously be back next Friday where we'll look back on the Reading game. We'll look back on the Lyon game, and we'll look ahead to who is it we play next weekend?
Liverpool.
It's Liverpool, isn't it? Of course it is. Matt's game. The Matt Derby. Liverpool against Arsenal.
First of all, we got the Daniel van der Donk derby, and we've got the Joe derby. And we've got the Joe derby as well.
We've got and then we've got the Joe derby.
The Joe derby, and then they've got the Swiss players going back to Zurich as well. So that'll be good.
Lots of derbies going on, which is good.
I just had a quick question for Andreas. You're going to both the games against Rosengard and Cologne?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Oh, enjoy. That'll be good. Yeah, the strange kickoff time at 1 minute past, which I found out was due to a climate change thing. So there you go.
What was it down to?
The climate change, something to do with climate change.
Mm.
That's why
So
it's
kicking off a minute later is going to save the planet, is it? How does that work?
Make everybody aware of the problems with the climate change. Therefore, it's 1 minute later the kickoff.
Okay.
I'm in Munich on Sunday, and I have to watch the Arsenal match on the train home. And on Wednesday, I'm back in Munich for the Champions League against Rosengard. And they had the early kickoff, and I think Arsenal kickoff in Lyon is
8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, you'll be traveling and back, will you? Yeah, you'll be watching the Lyon game on the train. Did you say? Yeah.
No, I'll stay in the hotel on Wednesday. And
okay, yeah.
There's a chance to see the Lyon Arsenal match in the hotel. But the Cologne after the Cologne match, I'm driving home by train, and then I have to watch it on the smartphone in the train.
On the Reading, because it'll be at 7:45 your time. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Oh well, I mean it's good fun though, isn't it? Good to be getting out and about watching a football. That's what it's all about, isn't it? And it's gonna be some great games going on over the next few weeks anyway, which is good. So yeah, obviously, I say we'll be back next Friday with a look back on a busy week and another busy week coming up afterwards as well. It's just mad at the minute, game after game after game, which is good. And of course, we are hopefully going to be staying top of the league as well, which is nice. That's where we want to be. We've worked hard to get there. We want to stay there now, so that'll be good. So, obviously, coming up on the channel on Sunday, there are two big games. Obviously, the men are playing Leeds at 2:00, and then a couple of hours after that finishes, the women are playing at Reading. So I've got a busy day with a little bit of a break in between, which is nice. So please join me for those two if you can, because that'll be really good. Hopefully 2 wins for Arsenal will be a great Sunday, wouldn't it? So let's hope so for that. And then, of course, next week, loads and loads of stuff going on the channel. Watch-alongs here, there and everywhere. Europa League, Champions League, WSL, Premier League. It's all happening. So there's loads of stuff. So hopefully you can find something that you'll like to watch. Terry says, great show again, chaps. Thanks for the great entertainment. Richard the Giraffe, MRNM. Have a great weekend and see you next week. Stay safe. Well, yeah, indeed. And yourself, Terry. Hopefully see you Sunday, mate. I know, we've got 2 games to watch, so hopefully you can join us for that as well on Sunday. But yeah, everyone enjoy the rest of your Friday. As we always say, the weekend officially starts on the Arsenal Women's Show, and that's what's happened this week. Finally back on our normal Friday. We should now be regular Fridays now as we go through. There shouldn't be any reason why, unless they move one of the games to a Friday night again, which they probably will at some stage. But at the moment, there isn't anywhere till all Christmas going up till Christmas have been sorted out, haven't they? Now all the games have been.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we haven't got a Friday game this side of Christmas anyway. So hopefully we'll be back regularly on a Friday again. For you to enjoy. And I say I'll be back on Sunday at about 1:45, ready for the Leeds against Arsenal game in the Premier League, which is going to be another great game. So thank you very much again, of course, to Andreas. Have you enjoyed the show again?
Yeah, of course I did. And it was great to be back and great to talk to you guys. And looking forward to the weekend and to the restart of the league.
Yes, we're looking forward to it. It seems like it's taken ages, but it's finally here, or it will be on Sunday. Matt, again, good to see you. Have you enjoyed the show?
Yeah, I always enjoy it when everyone's involved, and it's nice to everyone catch up and everything every week, and it's nice to meet fellow fans as it always is. And we're getting back to regular football now, so I'm looking forward to it even more with all these away trips going on. Villa Park is going to be the venue for Aston Villa in December, which has changed just to
is it?
Yeah, it's going to be Villa Park, is it now?
Yeah, so I was getting confused about that. I didn't know whether or not I was going to be able to go because Walsall's in the middle of nowhere again, and it's hard to get to. But to Villa Park, which it'll be a nice little fun memory for me, especially if Katie does score another banger.
Yes,
of course, because that was your first game last season, wasn't it? The Aston Villa game at Villa Park.
That was great.
Another 4-0 win would be nice as well, wouldn't it? Let's be honest, we'll take that. But they're doing well this season, Villa. Actually, that could be a tricky game. I know
it could be top by the time we kick off. They've got West Ham tomorrow as well, so let's see.
Well, it could be. Yeah, it's all happening at the minute, isn't it? But we just win our games and we'll stay where we are, which is the main thing. And Emma, as well, good to see you again. Even though you was a bit late, we'll let you off. You did make it in the intros, which is nice. Have you enjoyed the show?
Yeah, no, it's great to be back. Great to be doing what we do, discuss best. And yeah, good. Let's hope now, full speed until Christmas. No more breaks. Fingers crossed, no more injuries, and we continue to score goals and win games. So gives us plenty to be happy and talk about. So yeah, bring it on.
No more injuries. That's key as well, because we've got far too many as it is, and we don't want any more, because that would be a disaster. So hopefully not. And let's hope we've got enough about us to keep winning games, which I'm sure we have. So yeah, thanks to all you guys for watching. Always appreciate it. I say thanks to Andreas, to Matt, and to Amar. I'll be back on Sunday for the watch-alongs. We'll be back with a women's weekly show next Friday at 7:30, which is going to be good. The weekend is now here, so you can enjoy the weekend, and hopefully we can enjoy Sunday and 2 big wins. That's what we want. And of course, Champions League as well. The only place to Arsenal win the Champions League this season is with the women. We are flying the flag for Arsenal in Europe, in the Champions League anyway. And hopefully we can go a long way this year. So good stuff. So thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to give us a like before you go. And if you are new, please subscribe. Loads of great stuff coming up. And I'll see you Sunday for the big games. And in the meantime, as always, come on, you Gunners. Come on. Let's win on Sunday. Let's do it. Come on. See you later, guys. Take it easy.
Bye.
Right.